On the table in front of me, I have all 9 LEGO Star Wars Summer 2022 sets, a wave that some think might just be the best ever. I don't know if I'll be able to answer that in this video, but I did go on Instagram and ask you, the viewer, what you wanted to know about this entire wave, and I intend to answer as many of your questions as possible, and in return, I only ask for a simple like on the video. Now, our first viewer question comes from Porter, who says, what's the total cost because I'm lazy and don't want to do the math? Me too, man. FaceTime Rodrigo Blankenship. Rod, I was wondering if you knew how much money all the Summer 2022 sets cost?
I do. I believe all of the 2022 sets put together comes out to $750.
That's expensive.
And just because I know you're probably going to have some other questions about it, there's 5,958 total pieces with all the sets combined, and that's going to come out to a total price per piece for the entire wave at 12.6 cents per piece.
That was easy math. Thanks, Rod. Enders wants to know if this wave best represents Star Wars in 2022. I think equally as important is to analyze whether or not it best represents LEGO Star Wars fans' desires and wishes, because both things are important to LEGO Star Wars. So, first off, from the Star Wars perspective, I think yes. So, starting out in the beginning of the year, we had Book of Boba Fett come out, and of course, here we have Mando's and one Starfighter, which I'm breaking, but we have the Book of Boba Fett set for the summer wave. Then we had the Kenobi show drop, and we have a couple Kenobi sets, plus the Kenobi brickheads, so that's 3 Kenobi sets, really, for the summer wave. And then following the Kenobi show, we have Andor. So we got our 1 Andor set, and then concurrently with Andor, it's going to be Bad Batch Season 2, and so we have a Bad Batch set here with Cad Bane's Justifier, and I think that really ties everything together, and Cad Bane also kind of ties in with Book of Boba Fett, so yeah, kind of a little bit of everything as far as current media goes, and that's really good that it's all represented. And then from the fans' perspective, of course, the 4-year-olds got a little something with this ATST. People have been very much desiring Jedi Fallen Order sets, and while I still think it'd be nice to get some minifigure-based sets, the BD1 is here at last, so that's something. And then it's the 20th anniversary of Episode 2, so we got Obi-Wan's Jedi Starfighter with the Kaminoan for the first time, something a lot of people wanted for a long time, including myself. And really, this is the only place where I get hung up on with this wave as a whole conceptually, is that it's missing the counterpart to this set. This Starfighter should absolutely have Jango Fett's Slave 1 to go against it, to fight against it, completely missing from this wave, and it's really the one thing that I feel like is holding me back from just going out and being like, yeah, this is the best wave ever, because it's just missing that little final touch. And then we have the ATT, of course, from Episode 3, Phase 2 Cody, of course, being the big draw there, minifigure-wise, that fans have been asking for quite a while. So I really feel like there's a lot here, both for Star Wars in general and LEGO Star Wars fans. They've really done a great job of having a very diverse lineup, and this is definitely like a top 3 or 4 wave of all time, probably. Jorwheel wants to know which set was the most disappointing compared to its hype, and for me, that is the Obi-Wan's Jedi Starfighter. Slightly in part because there's no counter to it, but mostly because of the gaps in the design. I just think these gaps really take away from the look of it. Like, it's not a bad set, you should not buy it, the minifigs are great, but you ask me, and that's my answer. Like, I think most of the sets are very good this summer, but yeah, if I had to pick one that was kind of overhyped to me, it's probably this one. Noah wants to know what I think the best minifigure is out of all the sets, and I couldn't pick just one, so I picked 7. The BD units, we have Toto 360 is fantastic. Those micro figures for LEGO Star Wars this summer are amazing. Ned B, the Kaminoan Ton Wee, I love the new Cad Bane, and the Episode 2 Obi-Wan, all fantastic figures. Those are all brand new. 2 other figures I think are fantastic this summer, the Scout Trooper and Fennec Shan, but those are returning from previous years. Nelson wants to know which set is the most like its source material and which set is the least like its source material. So as far as the most accurate set of the summer goes, I kind of want to give it to the BD1. I think this is a fantastic model of the character. It perfectly represents BD1. Like, there's just not a lot that I would call inaccurate about this set. And that tends to hold true for most of the sets of the summer. Like, all of the builds this summer are pretty spot on, except maybe the Junior's ATST. I guess technically that would be the one that is least like the source material, but it also feels like a cop-out answer. And I think you probably know where I'm going with this one. It's the ATT. It is the only set that has other things in the set. Well, I shouldn't say that. Tala in the Obi-Wan versus Vader set is the wrong outfit, but I feel like there are more things wrong and inaccurate in this set, such as having the spider droid instead of the crab droid, and then, of course, the helmet prints on the 2/12 clones are very unlike the source material. They're, in fact, completely wrong. The clone troopers, what they've been doing since 2020 is mashing the styles of clone troopers. I don't really know why LEGO has done that. It doesn't really make a lot of sense. Like, it would be very easy to just have different torso prints. You have to make a different torso print to have the orange on there anyway, so why not make it the accurate episode 3 style? Dylan wants to know what set's best for display, and it's the set with the display plaque. What do you know? I think that's a fair answer. BD1 is a fantastic display set. He's going to look lovely. He's, stands taller than the rest of the sets, so he's definitely going to stand out. He's in a very unique color scheme with the white and the red that looks really good and really pops, so I think that's really good from a display perspective. But it'll also fit in with those other buildable character droids or characters that you might have from previous years, so that could go in kind of a sub-collection you have type of thing. So from a display perspective, I think BD1 kind of knocks it out of the park. Even this set, which a lot of people dislike, I really like it. I think it's a fantastic display piece if you set up the figures on it and you get everyone kind of involved here. Like, it just looks really cool to have all the minifigs on a display like this, duking it out, and especially because it's Darth, Vader, and Obi-Wan. Like, love it. Another perspective to take is the UCS Razor Crest is coming out later this year. It's going to be about minifig scale, and of course that can go very well with a pretty close to scale N1 Starfighter right next to it. Of course, they're both the Mandalorian's vehicles that he's had in the first 3 seasons almost of the show, and so having those two next to each other is a great display to celebrate the Mandalorian. Who would win Star Wars wants to know which set would have the best play features, and to me, that is the set that really involves minifigures in its play here with Darth Vader versus Obi-Wan. You can have the figures duke it out. Of course, you have Ned B to come in to save the day, Tala to take her pop shots at Vader. You've got the flying fiery rocks. The fire that pops up between Obi-Wan and Vader is just, it's an amazing feature, and I think this set as a play set works fantastically. Again, I know people don't like it, but man, for whatever reason, I have really been turned on to this set. I just like it. Pig4Day wants to know which set is the least sturdy. It happens to be the really tall one with only 2 legs that is wobbling around all of the time. Yeah, definitely BD1 is the least sturdy. I mean, it has nice feet that are going to kind of keep it in place. You don't have to worry too much, but definitely out of all the sets, it's the one that's most likely to fall over and break. It also just kind of, to me, has the most pieces on it that just randomly fall off. There's also these pieces on the back of the knee here that I always have fall off, so yeah, I would say BD1 is the most flimsy of the sets. Dogfood wants to know if the old Inquisitor helmet fits on the new Inquisitor figure, and it certainly does. However, it does leave a little bit of a gap at the back compared to the old one, which it was completely flush, no gap to see the back of the head, so just a slight difference there. But if you wanted to put your old Inquisitor helmet on your new Inquisitor minifigure, you certainly can. Christian wants some more minifig comparisons, and here you can see the Rex and Cody are a great duo. Rex is something that I think LEGO is going to make in the next year or two, especially with this new helmet where they're going to be able to put that rangefinder on. It'll look nice, I'm sure. And then on the other side of things for Cad Bane, really slimmed down in the face, tube area, and then the hat as well being so much smaller is just weird to me because I'm so used to Cad Bane with a giant hat. But the leg printing for Cad Bane really puts that figure over the top for the new one. I know you didn't ask, but I did go and grab the old 212 to compare to the new 212 just to show you. You can see on the old one you have the more accurate Episode 3 style torso, and then you can see where LEGO's helmet error has really ruined the helmet on the new characters. You've got this really weird gap next to the fin of the helmet, and then it's completely missing the point on the front of the helmet where the orange comes down and meets at a point like it's supposed to be there, like it is on the old version of the helmet. New version of the helmet doesn't have that. Looks terrible. Not to mention those helmet holes, but that's something that obviously there's some argument about. At the very least, people have to recognize LEGO has done a terrible job with their quality of the print on the top of the 212 helmet. J5 wants to see Cad Bane's Justifier compared with the other big summer sets from previous years. And this was originally going to be a $160 set, but ended up at $170. And the 3 sets you see behind you are also $160. So these are all kind of the big summer set of the year, and you can see compared in size, even though it's only 1,022 pieces and all of these other sets have at least a couple hundred more pieces, I think. It's very similar in size, and I will say also in weight. I know you're not here and you can't actually pick it up, but it's a very hefty set. And the worst value for your money is the ATST, and it's not even close. This thing for $30 is a certified scam. Definite stay away unless you're absolutely desperate for one of those minifigs, but at that point, just buy them separately online. And then the best value for your money is probably the Inquisitor ship. $100 for that behemoth vehicle, and it also looks dope. It has a great interior. And then you've got 4 awesome minifigs with the 5th brother, Reva, the Grand Inquisitor, and Wandering Kenobi, or regular Kenobi. I can't remember which. Either way, 4 great figures in that set. Nielsen wants some price recommendations. I gotcha. For $50, there's not a lot you can do, but you could get the Kenobi brickheads and pair it alongside the Obi-Wan Starfighter with Taun We. That's a pretty good use of your $50. You could also just go out and get the Darth Vader Obi-Wan set. No? Nobody? If you've only got $100, you could definitely go out and just get the BD-1, or you can go for the Inquisitor ship. Both these sets cost $100 even. There's definitely some other combos you could do for $100, but I think these are the best sets and are better than any combo of the smaller things for me personally. At $200, you gain a bit more flexibility. You could swing for the fences and go for the biggest set of the year and maybe combine that with a $30 set, or you could combine that $30 Obi-Wan Starfighter with my prequel lovers pack, the ATTE, and so you end up with 2 prequel sets for $170. Maybe you could put that other $20 towards the brickheads, or in my opinion, just save it, or file first battle pack or whatever, something from another wave. And then the $200 Disney Plus pack, the Inquisitor ship, that's $100, Mando's N1 Starfighter, another $60, and the Obi-Wan set, $50 more, brings you to $210, so $10 over budget, but I think you probably have some wiggle room at $200. So yeah, that's my 2 main suggestions for $200. If you've got $300 to burn, this trio here ain't bad. Also, if you end up ordering any of these sets on Amazon, Lego, or Zavvi, use the affiliate links in the description below. I get a small kickback and it costs you nothing extra. Finally, I present my big baller pack. This one will cost you $510. So again, I'm sure if you have $500, you might have $10 more of wiggle room there. And these are the 4 sets I'd recommend if you're a big baller. It's the 4 biggest sets of the wave. Of course, you could take a set out like BD-1 and put in Ambush on Ferrix and Obi-Wan Starfighter, maybe some smaller options. But if you want to go big or go home, these are the biggest sets. Hanky McSpanky wants to know if there's any must-haves, best value, and ranked minifigs. So we already went over best value. That is the Inquisitor ship to me. As far as must-haves, I think if you're a big fan of Book of Boba Fett or The Mandalorian, of course, with Season 3 coming out and the N1 Starfighter are going to be getting a ton of usage in that, we can assume this is going to be a must-have set. It also has the BD unit in blue there, which is actually a different print than the BD-1 that we get in the BD-1 set. I just wanted to show those side by side. I think the Inquisitor ship is also a must-have. Like I said, it's the best value, but it's also got some fantastic minifigures making an appearance, as well as a unique Obi-Wan Kenobi, and like, yeah, it's just a really cool set. Any self-respecting LEGO Star Wars fan is going to pick up the ATTE first off for that Phase 2 Commander Cody. Like the visor or not, this is your Phase 2 Cody, and it is nice to have. The 2 12th Troopers, if they ever fix the print, will also be some must-have minifigures. And then, of course, the ATT itself is the best one we've seen to date, with a fantastic interior, easily the best on an ATT ever as well. Something that I highly recommend checking out my review or ATTE comparison to see more of, because it's fantastic. And finally, the Obi-Wan Starfighter makes the must-haves list for me. I mean, even with the gaps, it's still a very nice-looking set. And, of course, the minifigs being a big draw with the very nice Episode 2 Obi-Wan, R4, could have used a little back print, and Taun We, of course, the first Kiminoan minifigure we've ever had. That's amazing, and of course, to me, makes it a must-buy, especially at $30. I mean, very nice for that Kaminoan alone. And, you know, if you have one of the old ones, maybe pass on it, especially that 2017 one. Definitely a very serviceable model, unless you really want the Taun We, which you probably do, in which case it makes it a must-buy. And of course, all of this is just subject to personal preference at the end of the day. If you're not a big prequel fan, you might not buy these, even though I call them must-have. I think that should go without saying. Low-key, if you're a Fallen Order fan, the BD-1 might be a must-have, because it might be the only Fallen Order set you ever get, because there's no minifigs down here, and they've been putting minifigs there, which to me implies that we won't be getting any minifig-based sets for Jedi Fallen Order. Could be wrong, or it could just be reading into it too much. Either way, to me, this is kind of a must-have for any Fallen Order fan, seeing as it's the only ever Fallen Order set. There are 35 total minifigures in the Summer Wave, and as you're buying sets, you'll get a minifig on average about every $21 spent. This is my somewhat arbitrary list of figures from worst to first. I didn't spend all that long on, but generally, this is kind of an idea of a list of how I feel about the figures. I will be taking no questions or comments about my minifig order. Thank you. Just Too Good wants to know which set I think will be worth the least and which set I think will be worth the most in 5 years. I think the Andor set has a lot of potential to not be worth a lot of money in 5 years. Now, the market for LEGO is different as we get to talk about what sets I think will be the most expensive here in a second. You got to keep in mind, there's a lot more people investing in LEGO now. A lot more people are thinking like that. And so it's a little bit more like wishy-washy to me what might become valuable down the line. But my perspective on this is, if the Andor show doesn't really hit with a lot of people. Not a lot of people are going to want this set, and that's just kind of how it's going to go. I believe it's already kind of confirmed for a second season, so that would basically, to me, say, oh, let's say the set retires before that second season comes out, then there's potential for the value of the figures to go up, whatever. But this is the one that I look at with the highest potential to not be worth more money than it costs now in 5 years. My next set is kind of a sleeper set for set that I think might be most expensive in 5 years. I have a couple others I'll talk about in a second. But this set right here, a lot of people sleeping on it, which means not a lot of people are going to buy it, which means in 5 years, people might want it. You know, like that sort of can happen from time to time. I think the Grievous Starfighter is a really good example of this happening recently, where the set was overpriced. A lot of people when the set came out said it was overpriced and consequently didn't buy it. The set retires, and now it's worth like $130, $140 sealed in box on eBay or whatever. Like, you get the point, right? It's already almost doubled in value, or maybe 1.5x value, whatever. You know, like, that can happen very easily with sets like this that kind of go under the radar. Very good odds here for the Inquisitor ship, mostly because it has the 3 Inquisitor minifigs there. Like, that's going to be a big draw for a lot of people. Plus, it's just an awesome set, so it has that going for it, too. Again, it's a little bit of different time, though. Like, in 5 years, like, what's the draw for this set if everyone that wants one now buys one? So, it's hard. It's, like, really this weird thing that I kind of struggle with, but then time and time again, Lego sets just keep going up in value, so I don't know. And finally, I think clone sets have always, you know, people are always about the clone troopers. So, you know, Phase 2 Commander Cody, the 212, especially if they don't end up in a battle pack or cheaper set, could very well be worth quite a bit of money in a few years, 5 years down the line. There's also this weird thing where it's like, if everyone expects it to go up in value, then everyone invests in it. And then if everyone invests in it, well then, like, it won't go up in value, right? Doesn't that make sense? So, I don't know. But those are the 3 sets that I think have the highest likelihood of being worth the most relative to their original retail. As a bonus category for y'all, I have sets on the left here that I would absolutely not pay full price for. I would definitely wait for a sale to pick up any of these because they're probably going to go on sale. They're just the overpriced, very expensive sets to me this summer, especially that N1 Starfighter. I mean, I think it's fair for $60, but it's already been on sale for $48, so, like, don't pay full price for that one. And I somehow lost my 4+ ATST box, but that should be on the left here, too, as a set you should never pay full price for. So the ATTE, the BD-1, the Inquisitor ship, and the Obi-Wan Starfighter, I think, for their full retail prices, you'd probably feel okay with paying full price for. These, absolutely wait for a sale. Jacob wants to know what I think next year's Summer Wave will look like. And my original single answer to this was just going to be, it's too soon to know. But it's kind of not. Like, there's a few things we can take educated guesses on. So the Ahsoka show should definitely be somewhat of a focus for next summer, because I think the show will be out around then, so we can expect a set or two based on that show. Mando Season 3 will have come and gone, and so we should definitely have some Mando Season 3 sets at that point. Obviously, those sets would also probably come out in, like, the early half of the year, but you could see a split thing where you get some in the early year, some in the latter half of the year. I guess it's Return of the Jedi anniversary, so I would expect some Return of the Jedi stuff. B-Wing, TIE Interceptor have been big on people's minds last few years, just absent from Lego Star Wars. They need to come back, and they're probably going to come back next summer. Potentially a Rebel A-Wing. What you probably want to hear me say is where there's smoke, there's fire, right? The ATT came out this year, and many people have also been wanting a play-scale gunship. And there has yet to be a Republic ATTE without an accompanying Republic gunship. And trying to pick up patterns from Lego Star Wars are like as good as trying to throw a dart at a dartboard when you're blindfolded and you've been spun around 3 times. Like, you just don't, like, the patterns don't actually tend to matter. But it is worth noting that it's been 3 times now, and that's somewhat of a pattern. And I think that sort of lends credence to the possibility that there could be a gunship next summer. I think the designers know people want a gunship. Obviously, the UCS gunship won the fan vote. Like, there's a lot of reasons that a gunship playset could be coming down the pipeline, and especially because it could accompany an ATTE very, very well. And so hopefully where there is smoke with Lego Star Wars this year, there will be fire with Lego Star Wars next year, and we'll get a Republic gunship place. Ahsoka show, Return of the Jedi, maybe any other pertinent Disney Plus stuff, and then hopefully a Republic gunship. This has been my wave overview for every Lego Star Wars Summer 2022 set. Let me know what your favorites are down in the comments section below. Leave a like if you enjoyed the video, and if you plan on purchasing any of these sets, please consider using the affiliate links in the description below. Doesn't cost you anything extra and helps support the channel. That's it. See ya!